great, we're live? Perfect. Hi everybody, welcome to SmartBear's Ask Me Anything session. I'm Jeff Martin. We're really glad to have you guys here. Put questions, not comments, in the chat below so we can answer them. This is my buddy Tamil. Tamil, introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Tamil Sanchez. I'm a technical sales engineer here at SmartBear. I've been working at SmartBear for about 6 years, trying to help users enhance their processes, especially when using SmartBear products. So this is definitely our first AMA, right? Ask Me Anything, and we're here to answer any of your questions. So please bring them on.
Yeah, this is fun. We actually we don't get to do these often, so it's, I don't know, I love this idea. So anyways, we're excited. We hope you are too, but let's dive into the questions.
Right, so question, well, there's a bunch of questions here, but the first one that I can see is, what is your favorite software fail from the past year and why?
Ooh.
So I actually have a good one, and it's interesting.
Did you apply? I don't?
Oh, no, 100%.
Okay.
But this actually happened today. Today is actually the last day of your tax returns for the United States, and the system's actually crashed because of an overload. Obviously, everybody leaves their taxes for last minute, right? Everybody tries to push them out at the same time, and I guess the IRS did not have that planned, or probably did not load test their services. So they obviously had to give an extra day out. So you have until tomorrow, guys. Don't worry. But anyways, in my suggestion, obviously everybody that has an overwhelmingly amount of concurrent users should do a lot of performance testing to understand how much they can scale when it comes to their applications. Yeah, what do you think, Jeff?
Everybody leaves their taxes to the last day. They probably should have planned for that.
That's right.
Actually, I like Google's mistake because I love the intersection of software and hardware. Google accidentally put something on the Google Home Mini, the little speakers you shove in your house, that was not just listening all the time, but recording it on Google's server, which is such a mind-bogglingly large problem for privacy reasons and everything else. I just love that bug. How did that one slip through, given all the checks they should have to make sure they're not unintentionally recording everybody's conversation?
Right. That's right.
Nothing stinks worse than having the audio on when you don't know about it.
Yeah. User acceptance testing. I mean, know what the product, the application, the software is going to be doing when a real user is using it, right? So make sure you understand the way that software works.
Yeah. Also, don't unintentionally record everybody's conversation.
All right, so let's jump on to the next question here. This is a good one. What are the pros and cons of shifting left?
Ooh, we're going to have to define shifting left first for people who don't know that.
That's right. That's a good one. So
that was me prompting you. You get to.
All right, so shifting left basically means testing sooner in your software development lifecycle. So that means having developers and just everybody as part of the process doing some sort of testing. This will help the process and applications and software be delivered with less bugs. So pros,
look, shifting left, right, like camera, development, testing, delivery of the software. So that's what they mean by shifting left, right? Shoving it over towards the developers.
Side.
This is really awkward flipping the mirror image here. But look, the benefits of testing early are you find stuff early. That's really what shifting left is about. Having the people who actually make the thing test to make sure that the code is doing what it's supposed to do before you even bother trying to stitch it together with the rest of the code.
Right.
Integration testing, systems testing, etc. Finding it early is a lot easier to fix than finding it afterwards. Just think about all the people it's got to go through. God forbid it goes to customers, then it's got to go back through QA and they refix it, and then the whole thing goes back out through QA again. Recycling like that's just inefficient.
It's really inefficient and it's costly, right? The sooner you catch something in your process, the cheaper it will be to fix it, right?
And you'll have a less likely impact of dominoing, right? One defect that causes other unintended ones.
That's right. And it's really not that hard, right? You have your developer. There's tools out there that you basically have your developers building the software, as per the requirements, and they could write tests right within their development environments.
I mean, good developers test to a degree anyways, but more formal testing on the left-hand side of that spectrum is always beneficial.
Yeah. And with some other tools, those tests does not have to live and die in the IDEs. They can be built into other applications to get the testers right started. So, and that that's some of the some of those tools are also provided by SmartBear, which is great.
That's a good plug.
Yeah. We have to do some plugs here. So all right, guys. So let's see what else we have here. When should you use test automation?
Ooh. It's gonna be the worst answer in the world. Let's get ready for that.
Okay.
When it makes sense. How's that for a really short, unhelpful answer? Not everything needs to be automated. The people always were like, "Oh, just automate everything." Look, some things it takes longer to automate than it takes to just test them. That said, you want to do continuous integration, continuous delivery. You have to automate. Computers are faster than humans. They just are. You cannot go at the speed you need to for modern delivery of applications with just people. You have to automate, and you have to automate as much as you can that has a positive ROI on the automation effort.
I agree. I think that we have to start thinking about automation early on, even if you're not there yet, right? When you build your first test, when you build your first piece of code, how to verify that it works, and how to verify that you can reuse whatever you're building to test it, right? So that's where it starts. That's where I think it starts.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a product guy, right? So to me, where the beginning of all that starts is when you sit there and you decide what you're building. You write your requirement, just to use the right term. Thinking about how that could be automated, even in the design and development phases. Forget shifting left, we're off on the chart here now.
Yeah.
Before you even really ideate. Wow, big word, I'm not going to use that again.
So what do you think about test-driven development now that we're on a similar subject?
I'm unpopular on this one.
Yeah.
I don't like test-driven development as much as I like behavior-driven development.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of, I can hear comments now going, it's the same thing. They're different.
I agree.
To me, the technology, everybody confuses the technology and the process of BDD or TDD. They're always like, we want to use Cucumber.
Yeah.
That's a tool. The process is defining your behaviors before you write what it is you want to do. How you define what you want to build should inherently have the test definition in it. And that's the heart of BDD and TDD, whether you use Cucumber or not. Gherkin or whatever other BDD framework. That said, man, are they powerful if they're used right in conjunction with the right process. What happens a lot is you see people implement the tooling without actually implementing the process and then wondering why it's inefficient and kind of a pain in the butt.
Right. So both going hand in hand, right? Tooling and process. All right, so it seems like we have...
I'm going to get yelled at for using the word butt. Somebody will yell at me.
We hope they do, right? We hope we see some comments on there. We're here to answer any of your questions, and it seems like we have a question from a newer person here. What skills or programs should a recent graduate with little experience focus on if they want to become test QA engineer or, I'm sorry, they're getting a lot of questions now, test QA engineer or excel at a place like SmartBear?
Ooh. That's a good one. You answer this one.
So I would say have a broad mind, right? The industry is full of, technical processes and tools. Have a broad mind, right? Be aware of what's going on in the industry in the most efficient processes right now.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's funny. I almost give the same advice anytime anybody asks anything about career, which is hybrid skill sets are more valuable than single skill sets. You don't want to just be one thing. Tamil, you're a sales engineer, right?
Yeah.
That's two things. You know how to sell, you know the tech.
Right.
I'm a bunch of things, all sorts of them. The most valuable skills you can have as a QA person is to expand yourself beyond just QA. Understand development, understand how the product's built, understand how the product's delivered through the ops team. Just pick something else and get that hybrid skill set. Two things. That said, you need programming. I mean, I think that's obvious nowadays. You do need to know how to program. Code Academy is great.
Yeah.
But the skills we value here at SmartBear tend to be those hybrid skills.
I agree. All right, so we have a question from Chris. Automated testing is perhaps a wrong word. I think this was on our comment earlier. I'm actually glad he did this. Let's see. Automated testing perhaps is a wrong word. You can't automate a test per se. Shouldn't it be more automated checks? You automate checks for things that are defined by acceptance or criteria.
Ooh, we got a context-driven guy out there.
Yes.
I like it. I'm a huge fan of context-driven. I pay a little less attention to semantics than most people, I think. It's probably fair, but you are correct. Very few tests can be
actually automated.
They're checking is a more accurate, precise word. That might be changing a little bit. I think in 5 years you're going to see a lot more things with AI and machine learning where that line gets blurred.
Right.
But right now, yeah.
So what I've seen is actually, if you're doing design first approaches today, right? You build the specification of for example, a web service or a service, and then you go out towards building. You can actually automate the validation of the compliance against that initial contract because you started with the contract first, right? So that's one way of automating, which should
but it is. I mean, to be precise on the wording, he's correct. That's checking something, verifying, verification. It's not true validation. Not to get too technical on the differences, but
that's true. All right, so let's continue on here. We have a question from Deepa. What is the role of a QA in BDD framework? Developers itself can write the automation code quickly. Is that correct?
For every time I hear something about a framework, I go, "Great, you have your own," because everybody has their own. I'm not sure, in all honesty. Like where she's working might be very different than other places.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, QA should have some input into the test definitions, especially on behaviors, because they are usually close-ish to the customers versus the developer. Right, they're trying to be in the customer's mindset, or the user's mindset, to be more accurate.
Right. What I've seen is that again, and this is very different from organization to organization, but you have a DevOps team, right, operations that build out the scripts according to the requirements using BDD languages, and off of that, then further more advanced tests are built by QA to actually build integration and end-to-end tests. What do you think?
I mean, more or less, that's a general process. I've seen that sliced and diced about 5 billion ways, though.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah, I agree. So it's very different from organization to organization.
And it should be. I'm not. That's not a dig. Every application is different, and therefore every testing process should be slightly different.
Here we actually have a question from El Mahi. I'm sorry if I'm chopping up your name. It's El Mahdi, and it's about our products. So what is the best way to run SoapUI tests using Jenkins without using SoapUI user interface? So I can actually take that because I'm very well versed in the application. SoapUI Pro actually has a set of command line arguments that allow you to reuse the functional test or the performance test that you built within the product and execute them as desired. That's why we're really flexible, not only allowing you to run these tests in Jenkins, but also in any other product that's part of your CI/CD pipeline. So if you use Bamboo, TFS, whole Visual Studios, we can execute as part of any of your processes regardless of what products you're using. And again, it's via our command line interface.
I mean, that's generally true of most tools nowadays. There's some where it doesn't make sense, but for modern tools, if you can't consume it through an API or a command line interface, don't use it.
That's right. You need to make things reusable, right, and scalable. So if you're looking to automate using a UI tool, you should be able to execute it outside of the user interface. Great question. We have a question from Ethan. Are there any new innovative technologies which can be implemented more into testing things?
Innovative? I'll tell you some of the stuff that excites me in the industry. I touched on it briefly earlier. there are the very, very rudimentary beginnings of what I'm going to call automatic test creation. And apologies to the context-driven crowd. I actually mean test on this one. Where
Good save there.
well, just being careful. The ability to go through an application and define tests using rudimentary machine logic is something that it's not there yet, but eventually will get there. To me, that's the innovative edge of the industry right now.
Yeah.
We're never going to replace humans because applications are used by humans, but as you know, in the API crowd, a lot of applications aren't. There's
That's
a lot
right.
of things that are just consumed by other programs.
That's right.
That stuff can be truly automatically tested, not just checked.
Right.
And the definition of those tests can be derived programmatically, again, using AI or machine learning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that's really that's coming out to the light right now, right? And it's something that we have to keep a close eye on, make sure that the industry is supportive of it and that everybody understands the implementation part. And that's just one side of it. Something a little more innovative as well that I've seen is a design first approach, right? It's been around for a little bit, but people are actually now starting to apply it more and more, and it has huge benefits, right? If you think about it, let's say a construction company doesn't go out and just build a building. They first design it, right? They have architects thinking where the bathrooms are going to be, what size are the rooms, how many rooms, depending on what it's going to be, and then they go in and apply it. So it should work very similar in software.
It's interesting. It's funny because it's not an innovative technology at all. It's not even an innovative approach. It was innovated 20 years ago.
Right.
And people are just very slow to adopt, slow to change. Reminds me of Agile or what ultimately became DevOps.
All right, so here's an easy and hard one at the same time.
It was confusing.
Why does testing matter?
I'm going to let you go first on that one. That's a tough one.
So I mean...
Isn't that the title of this thing, though?
It is. It is. Are you sure? Aren't you guys, one of you guys didn't send that to us?
Yeah.
All right, so why does testing matter? So when you release software or whatever it is, let's say it's a product, it could be a physical product to the public, you want to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do right? You don't want a toy to not work correctly in your child's hands and miseducate him or to harm him, right? The same way that you would want software to not do any of the above to your users, to your clients, to your consumers. So in my opinion, that's why testing matters. You need to make sure that the software or the product works before it actually goes out to the public.
To me, testing is just making sure you understand how you're presenting yourself to your customer, user, whatever the target is of your application. Because there's almost no other way for them to judge you other than how much care you've built into the application you're building. And yeah, hardware, software actually doesn't matter for this purpose. Although we tend to focus more on software because hardware's simpler to test in a lot of ways. At the end of the day, you're a business. Whether you're making money at it or you're Facebook and getting people to use you and making money off the fact that you can sell their data. You're a business, you're selling to someone, and the only way you can sell effectively is to understand how you're presenting yourself, and the only way to do that is to test.
That's a very good point, right? Your software is the face of your company.
That was a lot shorter way to say that giant chunk of words I used.
So that's exactly what I took out of there, and I agree 100%. So let's move on here. Do you have any products which we could use to automate IE-based applications?
No. We actually have more than a few.
That's right.
I'm joking. Plus, I wanted to give somebody in marketing a heart attack. So, yes, we do. You can go to our website, smartbear.com. Click products. You'll see what are we up to? 30 billion products now? There's a lot.
Yeah.
Depending on exactly what you're trying to do, API, UI, you need test environments. We've got a product for you. So absolutely.
Right.
Go on
Specific
there.
tools that are that are really good for IE testing, Test Complete and cross browser testing. They
Yep.
integrate with each other. They're very good at doing IE and other browser testing. So definitely look those up. Again, visit our website www.smartbear.com and look for Test Complete and cross browser testing. All right. So next question from Bojan. What would be the most competitive advantage of Test Complete to other tools?
Boy, people are really diving in on the products. I kind of like that.
I kind of like that too.
The most competitive advantage. Damn it. I always answer with questions like, it depends. If you're testing a desktop application, there's not really a competition there. So I'll just state that one up front. If you're testing web, you're going to find very few tools that are as easy to go between what a coder might do, scripted,
Right.
and what a pure QA person who's just getting used to it might do, what we call keyword or record and replay type. Brings me to a larger question that I think I saw on the list we got beforehand, because we had comments on the, we had questions coming in off of the invites, which was awesome. Thank you guys. One really powerful way to start learning how to code is actually those record and replay type tools that then convert it into code, because you can see what it means in real life, quote unquote, and then the actual code. Test Complete actually supports, I think we're up to 7 languages, so it's actually not a bad way to learn, or at least get exposed to some of those coded languages.
Right. I also am aware that Test Complete has one of the best object recognition features within the industry when it comes to record and replay testing.
Yeah, I mean, we should probably mention at some point, we do give free tools. Free tools? No, we don't. Well, we do, but we give free trials, is what I was trying to say, of all of our tools, so you can poke around with it. To me, that's the best thing. Try to use it. I think you'll find it's easier to use than everything else, but you don't have to take my word for it. Try it.
All right, so Wesley, I'm not sure if I understand your question. I'm going to read it out loud, and we'll see if we can decipher it.
Give it a shot, right?
How no use Test Complete fully for testing my desktop application?
Woo, big question. Not sure we can answer that one live like this. It's just too big of a question. So let's see if we can find any more of those conceptual types.
Let's do one more. And Wesley, if you have specifics, please feel free to type them down, and we'll try to go in a little deeper. It is easy to automate a new product as it's being built, but what would be the best approach to automate legacy products that was never developed with automation in mind?
I love this question.
That's a very good
question.
question.
This is one of my favorite questions. Okay. You're testing it somehow. This is my best advice on how to take a current testing framework, meaning a current application that's out there, and then turn it into an automated framework, because you're going to need buy-in, you're going to need help. Go ask the testers what they don't like to do, what's boring, what's tedious, and automate those pieces. Don't think about, I need to build a whole framework. Think about, I need to relieve the pain of my testers. And what you'll find is there's a lot of pieces in there. Data entry, back end checking where they have to context switch from the front end to the back end and go check a database somewhere. Those pieces can be automated really, really simply with ridiculously high return on the investment of automation. And if you're alleviating the pain of QA, they'll find more pains for you to fix. For current applications, I don't normally recommend go start from scratch and build it like a framework. It's go find the tasks and checks that are driving your people crazy, fix them by making them automated.
That's right. And to tell you the truth, this is where our tools come in, right? It will take some tedious amount of work initially to start discovering, the functions of the actual product if there wasn't nothing built at the beginning. But this is where our tools enhance, right? You provided a contract, you provide endpoints, you provide whatever you have in place, and you make these reusable. That's what you're saying, right? Automate.
But focus first on the things that people hate doing. It's just natural human nature to want more after you've alleviated some pain. I did a whole talk on this somewhere. You can throw a comment in there with it. Seriously, I went on for this topic for like a half hour at one point,
So
we'll send that to you.
this is a bit of a weird question for us to answer specifically because we're split up into multiple sort of like business units. But John is asking you, and since you're a product guy, I'll lay this over to
you're
you.
laying it on me, okay?
What is a roadmap for SmartBear tools over the next 1, 5, and 10 years?
Anybody who tells you they know a roadmap for 10 years is really optimistic, just wildly optimistic. Think about 10 years ago.
That's right.
And then look at now. It was not the same world, especially in software. 1 year, we pretty much know what we're doing. It's mostly iterations with large feature deliveries, but we have, I want to say 14 tools. Is that right? 16?
It's around there, 14, 15 tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know all of them because I'm not that good. But I can tell you on the testing side of the business, meaning UI, automation, specifically test management, a lot of ours are around the test definition. There's a lot of innovation we're trying to put in there to try to make that part of it a little easier. I think test execution of automated tests, and of course the manual tests, is pretty much a solved problem. Test prioritization, test design, test creation, application scanning, those things are a large chunk of our future roadmap here. And you see a lot of that on the API side as well with our investment in Swagger and Swagger Hub.
Yeah.
Starting to bring in the definitions to help with the testing.
That's right. And I would say, again, that is a broad question, and this isn't answering it per se, but SmartBear as a whole, we have really rigid release cycles, right? You see that we release major products or major enhancements to tools and bug fixes every quarter, and with smaller ones in between, right? So we do, we're continuously improving all products. We're moving towards alongside with the industry, so, we don't just go out there and start building things that don't make sense.
And, one thing I'll mention here as a general trend across the company is you see us pivoting. Matter of fact, we're leading the charge on that, what we first called shift left.
That's right.
Testers are becoming more technical. Every kid coming out of school knows Python or JavaScript. People want to use things inside their IDEs. We're very, very much embraced that on our medium-term roadmap. I think they call it 3 to 5 years or whatever. But that's a very, very large priority for us, is making the tools accessible to people where they need them and to other tooling, because we understand fundamentally we are not an ecosystem you buy for all your needs. We fit in to your ecosystem and process.
All right, guys. So let's see if I can. There's too many questions coming in. If we don't get to you guys, definitely feel free to start pushing them in the comments. We'll try to get back to them afterwards. Also, you could use our community, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Let's see.
There are a lot coming in.
There's too many questions in here.
I'm going to let you pick. I'm just going to lean this way now.
All right, so this one says, tool, Selenium versus Cucumber. Any other better approaches?
Selenium versus Cucumber.
That's a weird one because it's on two different sides of the spectrum, right?
I feel like it was like house versus car. Selenium's powerful. Let's be clear. Selenium's a very powerful driver. It's a method of making a browser do what you want it to do. But it is a browser only limitation,
right.
So it only works on web browsers because that's what it's for. And you have to code around it. It's not like it can do object recognition or anything else for it. You have to use it as a program uses any other technology. Cucumber is not browser specific.
Nope.
It only really works well if you're approaching it from a process standpoint,
right.
Not just a tooling standpoint. Right. And so it's it's not an either or, it's both.
Both, right. Definitely both, right? If you're, again, Cucumber is more for people that are following a BDD approach, right? And it gives you a really easy to understand framework, right? Given, when, then, given this object or artifact, when this happens, then this should be the result. And again, it's that whole BDD approach, and
Right.
Selenium does.
I mean,
Front-end
Selenium/WebDriver is an API for talking to a browser, so it's just a very different piece.
All right, so I think we hit the top of the half-hour mark, guys.
Did we? Oh,
Yes,
wow.
we did. So
That flew.
again, there are a lot of questions in here that unfortunately we couldn't get to. Hopefully that we answered most of them, and people that joined just to listen in got what they needed from it. Again, this was our first Ask Us Anything. I hope you guys liked it. Definitely feel free to leave your comments down below.
Yeah, and as always, keep in touch.
Yeah.
Keep subscribed so we can let you guys know when these things happen.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
This was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I feel like somebody should yell cut.